You said no to one small favor this week. A fair no. And then you spent the whole night feeling like a bad person. Nobody yelled. Nobody even argued. The guilt just showed up on its own, quiet and certain, before you had finished the sentence. You replayed it in bed. You wrote the apology text 3 times and never sent it. You wondered if you had overreacted. If that is, you let me say it plainly. The guilt you feel after a boundary is not proof that you did something wrong. The people around you have a tidy story. You are a people pleaser, too soft, someone who just needs to grow a spine and get over it. Self-help says it louder. Set the boundary, sit through the discomfort, and the guilt fades in a week. Simple, clean, and mostly wrong. Here is what that skips. For a lot of people, the guilt does not fade. It was installed long before this boundary existed. Think about that word installed. You did not choose this reaction any more than your first language. You absorbed it young from others. It is not a character flaw. It is a learned alarm. And an alarm going off does not always mean there is a fire. Psychology has a name for it. Dana Jack called it self-silencing, the habit of hiding your own needs to keep a relationship smooth. Somewhere you learned that your comfort was negotiable and everyone else's was not. So you got very, very good at going quiet. Maybe you were the easy child, the one who never made a scene, praised mostly for how little you seemed to need. Or maybe home was loud and staying small kept you safe. You learned to read the house before anyone said a single word. Either way, the lesson stuck. Keep your needs quiet, stay useful, stay easy, and you get to keep the people you love close. That praise or that safety was real. It also taught a nervous system one rule. Love feels safest when you stay small and easy. So now a boundary does not feel like a choice. It feels like a risk. Like spending trust you are not sure you have. You decline the extra project and picture your boss rethinking you, deciding maybe that you are not as committed as they once believed. You leave the group chat and imagine the room getting lighter without you. Everyone a little more at ease once you are gone. You tell a friend you cannot talk tonight, then lie there holding your phone waiting for the reply that proves you hurt them. It even happens with strangers. The waiter brings the wrong order and you eat it anyway, smiling rather than quietly send it back. None of that is dramatic. It is a body doing exactly what it was trained to do, scanning for the cost of a limit. There's a second layer, and it has a name too. Arlie Hochschild called it emotional labor, the work of managing other feelings. For years, you were the one managing everyone's mood, smoothing the tension, reading the room early so nobody else in it had to. When that is your job long enough, other people's feelings become your responsibility to fix, not simply your job to quietly notice. So a boundary reads as abandonment. If I stop carrying their disappointment, who will? The honest, scary answer is that they will. This is where guilt gets clever. It dresses up as your conscience. It whispers that a good person would never have said no. But conscience and guilt are not the same voice. Conscience says you hurt someone. Guilt only says you disappointed someone. Very different things. Disappointing someone is not a moral failure. It is the ordinary tax of being a separate person with your own time and one life. Somewhere you decided low maintenance meant good. That the less you asked for, the more you earned the right to stay and be loved. And this goes deeper than a mood. Research links chronic self-silencing for some people to more stress and worse long-term health. Your body keeps the receipts. Every swallowed no, every yes you did not mean gets paid for somewhere later, usually quietly by you. Think how often it happens in a week. The dinner you did not want, the call you took, the plan you could not cancel. Each one is small. That is the trick of it. No single yes feels heavy enough to fight over, so they quietly stack up. By Friday, you are worn out and cannot say why. Nothing dramatic happened. You just spent the week agreeable at your own expense. Underneath the tiredness is a belief you never said aloud, that your needs are a burden and a good person keeps them hidden. Now the part I refuse to skip because it is just as easy to take this too far in the opposite direction too. A boundary is not a wall. One protects a relationship. The other quietly ends it while calling itself self-care and self-respect. If every hard conversation becomes a reason to cut someone off, that is not a boundary. That may be avoidance in better language. Real boundaries keep the door open. They say, here is what I can honestly give, and I still want you on the other side. So the question is not, did I feel guilty? You will. The question is, did I do something wrong or just something hard? Sit in that gap a second, honestly. Most of the time when you actually check, the answer is nothing wrong, just something unfamiliar. Guilt that follows a fair, kind, clearly stated no is not a verdict. It is an old habit firing on schedule out of date. You do not heal this by never feeling guilty. You heal it by feeling it and not obeying it, letting the alarm ring without running. Notice it does not say feel nothing. A boundary can